Hi guys, so I went out with my friends for dinner a couple of weeks ago, like about 2-3 weeks ago, and I filmed a tutorial on how I create this look. Now this is my favorite look. I love wearing it, especially at nights, and it just gives the skin a nice dewy finishing, like it's a very bronzy look. So I'm going to be showing you guys today how to create this look. Now the first thing that I start off with first is the Urban Decay De-Slick Complexion Primer. I apply this especially on the T-zone areas because it also mattifies the skin. Next I apply the MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette in medium deep, and I kind of mix the shades NW40 and NC42. And I apply these on the areas where I have uneven skin tone or I have scars, and of course the under eyes. And then I apply the Bobbi Brown foundation in number 6, and I apply this on the areas that I would want to highlight. And then I move on to Bobbi Brown foundation in the shade 6.5, and I apply this on the areas I want to contour. Now I use the wet beauty blender to sort of blend all this foundation out on my skin. The reason I use a wet beauty blender is just so that it gives the skin a more dewy finishing and it's a bit more blendable. I blend all the light areas first before I move on to the darker areas. Keep blending all the way till you do not see any harsh lines, and once you're done with the light areas, you move on to the dark areas, especially the areas where the two shades meet. You have to keep blending, just keep blending all the way, and make sure you do not see any fine lines and they fade off well into each other. Keep blending till you feel like you've removed all the excess product. Then you're good to start off with cream highlight. Now I like to start off with cream highlight while I'm still working with liquids, so that's why I apply it before I actually set powder. The reason why I do this is so that I can build intensity for my highlights, because I really want my highlights to pop. And then I use the beauty blender again to sort of just press all these product in. And of course I then move on to my Huda Beauty palette, and I'm using the shade Tahiti to sort of set the cream highlight. Now if you can see, this just builds the intensity and you would see the highlights popping so much more. And then I move on to my ABH contour palette in Tan to Deep, and I'm working with the darkest shade to just sort of set the contour areas. And I use a smaller brush to contour the sides of my nose. Using a blending brush to just sort of blend that out so that it looks a bit more smooth, and I'm just removing all the fine lines. Now I'm moving on again to my MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette, and I'm using the shade in Reach Yellow, which is the lightest shade on the palette, and I'm just going to do this so that I further highlight the under eye area, and then of course I blend it out again with my wet beauty blender. Now I'm setting all the light areas with MAC Studio Fix in the shade NC43. I'm just sort of loading the product so that it really sets the cream, and I just want it to look really highlighted. I'm going to go ahead and move in with a larger brush just to go over the larger areas. Doing the nose with a smaller brush again. I'm moving on to my brows. Now for the brows, I sort of just use a powder that is not too intense black, and I start off with very small strokes at the front of the brows, and I leave space so that it looks more like hair. And then I move on to the arch area where I sort of slightly drag the brow down and just sort of give it a bit more length. I'm just sort of filling the brows in very lightly so that I still keep it very natural. I'm also using this brush to sort of just comb all the hair up and see where I need to fill the brows in a bit more. In the areas where my brow is slightly higher than the other side, I'm just sort of adding a line just to balance both of them out. And in the areas where I've got gaps, I'm just sort of making sure that I fill those gaps out. Brows are looking good. I'm moving on to my eyes, and we're starting off with the Kylie Burgundy palette, and I am mixing the two shades in Penny and Brick on my crease area, and just sort of using a bigger blending brush and just sort of going over the whole lid. And I'm using the same shades below my waterline. And then I'm moving on to the shade Almond, which is the darker shade on the palette, and I'm just putting that over my lid. Now I'm moving on to the Inglot Body Sparkle in number 63. This is a very beautiful gold. It's basically gold pigment, and I'm just dabbing that on my eyelids, and then I'm just going to press it in with my fingers. Once I'm done with that, I am going to be using my Silky Gold matte eyeliner in the black shade, and I'm just going to form a very, very thin line because I just want to add intensity on the lash line. I'm moving on to my ABH contour palette again, and just using the orange shade as a blush and sort of blending it into the contour shade. Next, I'm lining my lips with NYX lip pencil in the shade dark brown, and I'm just sort of overlining it slightly so that the lips look fuller. Once I'm done with that, I'm using my favorite NYX lip cream in the shade Berlin and just filling the whole lip in. And you're not done there, make sure you get your concealer and just sort of clean up the lip so that the shade really pops, the lip shape really pops. Blend that out slightly with a beauty blender and use the excess that you have on your concealer powder brush and just sort of make sure that you don't have cream moving over your face. Now I'm just going in again with my contour shade and just sort of adding depth to all the darker areas. And then we're done with the look, but I decided to go in again with lip gloss. Using the NYX Lip Plumper, and on top of that I'm adding in Tiramisu, also by NYX Butter Gloss. good to go. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment on the comment section below if you've got any questions, and stay tuned for upcoming videos. Let us know what you guys would want to watch more. Till then, mwah. That suggests that we carry wine with us on the way. So here they are.